What is up, Hawk fans? I am here a day after to discuss Iowa's almost humiliating loss to the USC Trojans on the road. Full disclosure, I have a sore throat, so I'm manning up and powering through. If I sound different, obviously that is because of that. I officiated a game last night for varsity basketball. Sometimes, obviously, when you're under the weather, it adds to it as well. So, Iowa did not put together a good performance against USC. Let me get the score pulled up here. They lost 89-99. Allowing USC to shoot a staggering 60% from the field. I can't remember last year where Iowa allowed teams to shoot 60%. I mean, obviously they were not a good defensive team last year, but I really truthfully cannot remember them allowing this. It's possible that they did, but this is the first time in recent memory first season where Iowa has allowed multiple games of allowing 60+% to shoot. Guys, do you understand how bad that is in college basketball? In college sports in general, okay? 60% is what, now again, all these guys are super talented. They're super skilled. If you've ever gone to like a pregame warm-up or whatever, when they're shooting their warm-up shots, even the worst shooter on the team is just whop, just nailing shots. But allowing 60% is what you would expect from a high school game in which one of the teams has a 6'8" future Big Ten level player, and the other team is like a Christian school with 200 kids that go there, and they can get whatever shot, however they want it, no matter what, and the game gets so lopsided to where they're not even scoring fast breaks. They get the ball and they pull it back, and their coach is telling them, no, bring it out, whip it around. That's literally to shoot 60% is absurd. And for Iowa to have allowed that 2 times this year, USC and Wisconsin, especially USC, that isn't really, as Fran McCaffrey even said himself, is not even known as a good shooting team. They're not. It's crazy. And as far as the performance goes, when watching the game, there's a reason Iowa allowed them to shoot 60%. Okay. Number one, Iowa rebounded like dog S. Okay. And number two, Iowa's defense was so undisciplined. They were out of sorts. There were multiple possessions, multiple fast breaks, where even the announcers are saying, you got to stop ball. Who's stopping ball? And I'm thinking the same thing to myself. Who the is stopping ball? Who is stopping the ball? There were multiple possessions where a guy would drive and not even really be that much of a threat, and 4 guys would converge on one guy and leave the corner guy so that 3 guys can guard one guy. Okay, I wouldn't even put 3 guys on Luka Garza back in the day. I don't know. Those types of mistakes are just insane. Just insane. And I think realistically, because a lot of people say, well, Iowa's not a good defensive team because they don't have the athletes. That's just not true. Are they the most athletic team in the world? No, but just because they have a bunch of white guys on the team doesn't mean they're unathletic, okay? I think, generally speaking, Fran McCaffrey teams are more than athletic to compete in the Big Ten. They're never the most athletic team in the Big Ten, but they're still athletic enough. That's just not what Fran McCaffrey looks for. But you don't need the most athletic team to play disciplined defense and not do stupid stuff like that, like stopping the ball on fast breaks, not having 3-4 guys converge on one guy that is outside the free throw line. Those are just complete breakdowns. And what it shows to me is, as a team, there is a lack of consistent focus on the defensive side of the ball. From top down, from Fran McCaffrey to the assistant coaches to the team. And that, we have had Fran McCaffrey for years now. The crazy thing is that Fran McCaffrey teams in the past have actually been decent defensive teams, like before the last 5 to 7 years, I would say. Especially the Mike Gesell, Adam Woodbury. I mean, Iowa was actually, I would say, a good approaching elite defensive team if you look at the statistics. But I think that was probably due to the assistant coaches that were a part of the team rather than what it is now. So, and this explains why from game to game, there is no consistency. This explains why you have a Wisconsin game in which they call out Iowa for being pathetic on the defensive side and not wanting to play D. Iowa has one spur of energy and desire to play defense. And look, they can do it. When they actually have emphasis, when they actually have focus, they're able to play defense against Indiana, who to me was just as much of an offensive threat as Indiana. In fact, they're actually very similar teams as far as athleticism, kind of how they like to play, how they like to get up and down. So it's just pathetic. And this is why there is tremendous apathy from the fan base towards Iowa basketball. I'm going to play a little bit of the post game here from Fran McCaffrey.
Okay, Fran, USC shoots about 65%. Why does that happen?
There's a lot of reasons for it. We got off to a bad start. They got comfortable. They're a driving team. I thought our defense was not what it needed to be. They made a bunch of threes tonight. It's not typically their strong point, but they made them tonight. And you can see it.
Yeah, shocker against Iowa.
Gaining confidence. But our rebounding was not good. And we didn't get to the offensive glass at all. But I thought we did some good things in the second half with our break, with our late game stuff. Then we had some guys, step up and made some shots, to get back in the game.
Oh, wait, Clough. Hey, Fran. I know in the last few years, you guys have started in a bit of a hole in the Big Ten, 0-3, and now have yet to win on the road to start this year. Do you see any maybe commonalities between those games, or is it just flat out, difficult to win on the road in the Big Ten?
Yeah, a lot of good teams in this league. It's not going to be easy to win on the road, so you try to protect home and stay in the fight. We made a nice comeback. We had a chance. Didn't get it done. On to the next.
All right. There's more, but I frankly don't want to listen to this jerk off any longer than I have to. Let me tell you something. To win on the road is difficult in the Big Ten. And I did say in previous videos that is why you have to take care of business at home. But on the same token, if you want to have any chance of winning on the road, you have to defend. You have to compete, and you cannot beat yourself. Okay, this is a game. This is twice now where Iowa scores 80 plus points and doesn't win the game because of how bad their defense was that night. And again, I'm going to say specifically that night because Iowa has shown this year that they can defend. It is a desire. It is focus. It is a game-to-game decision that the team makes. From top down, everybody wants to lock in, defend, and get after it. So, I for what it's worth, I knew that this was going to be a tough game. I didn't think it was impossible to win this game, but I knew it would be tough because Iowa was, they had a quick turnaround from the Indiana game, and then they had to go fly cross country on a short time frame. I knew that this was going to be a tough game. It was still winnable, but it was going to be a tough game. Now, for what it's worth, I don't think USC is a terrible team. I think that they might very well be an NCAA tournament team by the end of the season. They're kind of where Iowa's at. Iowa's is higher in the net ratings, but they're kind of in that middle tier, jockeying for position. And so, just to kind of, actually, I'll do that at the end of the video. I'll let you guys know where Iowa stands. But let's look at the team stats here. Peyton Sanford scored 20 points, great. Owen Freeman 23 points, 6 rebounds, great. Josh Dix 13 points. Drew Thelwell 16 points. Brock Harding 8 points. Price Sanford 5. Seydou Traore 4. It's like, all of this means nothing. Iowa scoring 90 points or close to it means nothing if you're not going to defend. And there was even a play at the end of the game where Iowa allows the guy, they're playing like super high press man defense, and nobody helps on the drive. Josh Dix is on an island. Nobody gets in help defense. And it's like, do you guys understand how the freaking net rating works? Every point that you allow and the more separation there is, the worse this loss appears. You have to make this game look better than it really was. Now, Iowa did win the second half. They won the second half 57-51, but again, their first half was abysmal. Team stats, Iowa shot 53%, but they lost. USC shot 64.9%, pretty much 65%. They shot 67% from 3 compared to Iowa's 45.8. Iowa still made one more 3 than they did. Iowa shot 14 of 19 from the free throw line. Not bad. That's decent. 73%. USC 15 of 25, 60%. Total rebounds. USC absolutely made Iowa look like a JV team, out rebounding them 37-20. That's terrible. To allow a team to have 17 more rebounds than you is terrible. Assists 27-20 in favor of USC. That's usually not the case. Blocks 3-2 in favor of Iowa. Steals 8-4 in favor of Iowa. Turnovers 9-12 in favor of Iowa with 3 less turnovers. So what does this mean? I mean, it's hard to say, guys, because we've seen this before. Iowa got beat down by Wisconsin. They come back and they win. It's hard to say. I really am a believer that you're not as bad as your worst loss. But Iowa Iowa is a team that this Iowa team, I do think that they have high upside. But at this point, especially for, my fellow fans, to expect Iowa to be better than they are at this point without proof, I think is unrealistic. Okay, what they are is a good team, but they're not a great team. They're not an elite team. Okay, they are on the fringe of being an NCAA tournament team. Even right now, I would say that they are probably in the NCAA tournament because last I checked, according to Bart Torvik, they were first in the last 4 buys. So they were like, 7 teams in, okay? 7 spots in within the NCAA tournament. So, there's last 4 buys, last 4 in, and then there's the, first 4 out. Okay, Iowa was first in the last 4 in. So, Iowa at this point doesn't have any bad losses. They don't have any losses that I would consider bad. This might even be a quad 1 loss because it was on the road. Let me see. Let me pull up the net rankings here. I mean, Iowa, they did drop a few spots. They're 49th in the net rankings. That's not bad. If you're top 50 and you're a Big Ten team, you're in the NCAA tournament. For the most part, I would say 90% of the time. This was a quad 1 loss, but this was a huge opportunity for Iowa to pick up their first quad 1 game. And this is, if Iowa doesn't make the NCAA tournament, this is going to be why. This is going to be the reason because they allowed, the Iowa State game. Utah State was a winnable game. USC on the road was a winnable game. They let all these opportunities slip from their grasp. So again, they don't have any bad losses. Quad 1, quad 2, they're 5-5 if you combine them. But at this point, Iowa is a good team. Sometimes they're a very average team, especially if their defense is playing especially bad. But until they decide to be more consistent in their defensive performance, which, guess what? We were all fooled into believing, especially with all the articles from 247 Sports and Rivals. I even said, guys, we'll have to see. I mean, we need to see this be the case more consistently. I know. Fran McCaffrey's teams drop fool's gold all the frickin' time. So Iowa has an opportunity at UCLA that has a net rating of a 38 compared to USC's 71. Again, this is another opportunity to pick up a quad 1 victory. So, but yeah, I mean, Fran McCaffrey always drops fool's gold. Okay, his teams always do. They have one inspired performance, and then they drop back to what they usually are, which is a usually below average defensive team. And I've always said, I don't expect them to be elite, but there's no reason that they shouldn't be a consistent top 90, top 80 defensive rating team. I mean, it's just ridiculous. So that's pretty much it, guys. I mean, I understand the apathy for Iowa men's basketball. I do. A lot of people are checked out and tired of getting their hopes up with men's basketball, because Iowa is just always consistently mediocre to or average to good. They're since Luka Garza, we haven't seen any great or elite moments, and even the Luka Garza teams. I mean, were they maybe a little bit better? Or a little bit worse than maybe what their record indicated? Were they carried by Luka Garza? But realistically, as a team, they were actually, for the most part, just good, not elite. elite teams consistently find ways to get it done. Great to elite teams find a way to consistently get it done on the road, in tough environments. You know, they don't have the ebbs and flows of the Wisconsin game to the Indiana game back to the USC game. So, my biggest takeaway is, again, Iowa scores 90 points and they still lost. I mean, it's ridiculous. All right, guys. There's not really much more meat left on this bone. It's not a bad loss, but it is, as far as just, it was so winnable, and Iowa just didn't get it done. And it was an uninspired performance. It was. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment. You guys know the drill. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow and facts or feelings, because your feelings just don't matter. I love you, Hawk fans. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I really, really do appreciate it. The channel really does continue to grow. The most recent videos, especially around football, have seen a lot of support. So thank you. I'll keep making the content. All right, guys. See you guys next time. Go Hawks. Bye-bye.